tide. When the storm gets rough, we ain't gonna hide. I can get it swilling, but it won't touch me. Only love around, that's how it's gonna be. Keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track. In the city lights where dreams collide, we hustle through the night, fire in our stride. Whispers in the dark can't dim my glow. With rhythm in my soul, I'm ready for the show. We break the chains, rewrite the rules in this concrete jungle where nobody's fools. Unity sings louder than the lies they scheme. In the heart of the struggle, we dare to dream. Keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track.
Another Queen Ahmadiyyah production.
Haze on the corner, they talking real loud. Spreading on light, trying to bring me down. Enemies love you, but I won't back away. Got a vision in my mind, I'm here to stay. Got my crew beside me, we rise like a tide. When the storm gets rough, we ain't gonna hide. I can get it swilling, but it won't touch me. Only love around, that's how it's gonna be. Keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track. In the city lights where dreams collide, we hustle through the night, fire in our stride. Whispers in the dark can't dim my glow. With rhythm in my soul, I'm ready for the show. We break the chains, rewrite the rules in this concrete jungle where nobody's fools. Unity sings louder than the lies they scheme. In the heart of the struggle, we dare to dream. Keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track. Haze on the corner, they talking real loud. Spreading on light, trying to bring me down. Enemies love you, but I won't back away. Got a vision in my mind, I'm here to stay. Got my crew beside me, we rise like a tide. When the storm gets rough, we ain't gonna hide. I can get it swilling, but it won't touch me. Only love around, that's how it's gonna be. Keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track. In the city lights where dreams collide, we hustle through the night, fire in our stride. Whispers in the dark can't dim my glow. With rhythm in my soul, I'm ready for the show. We break the chains, rewrite the rules in this concrete jungle where nobody's fools. Unity sings louder than the lies they scheme. In the heart of the struggle, we dare.
All right. Hello, everyone. Thanks for tuning back in once again to the original Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur show. I'm your host, Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur, and this is your morning wake-up call. So as you're coming in, please feel free to go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Be sure to click that notification bell and click the word all so you're notified each time the Queen Goddess goes live. All right, so let's get ready to get black into it. Okay? Before we do, let's see who's in here. All right, Claudette, Anita Harrell, Juju is in the virtual building, Jeff ATL, Nessa G from the land. All right, let's get into it. Anita Harrell, likes up, everyone like and share. All right, Reggie is here, Perplex. All right. Shout out to all of my loyal royals. I see you, Buckhorse DC. We the people. Shout out to all of my loyal royals. Everyone tuned into the Queen. I see you, Bronze Flat Power God. Okay, and a big shout out to my moderators because y'all know they put in work. I see Queen Sam. Okay, DJ Big Six. Let's get into it. And if you have not been receiving notifications, please make sure that you double check to ensure that you're still subscribed to the Queen's channel. Now, before we get into the messiness of it all, let's have a brief word from my sponsor at 12 Tribes. Shout out to Lisa Cabrera.
Do not buy 12 Tribes on Earth hair growth oil and hair magic elixir unless you want super healthy, gorgeous hair that grows. They have a whole line of amazing hair growth products, including hair growth leave-in conditioner spray, hair growth shampoo, hair growth spray, and hair growth butter. I'm starting to sense a theme here. They include quality natural ingredients. They smell amazing, and you can see the results for yourself. So if you're looking for healthy hair growth for your natural or relaxed hair, try 12 Tribes on Earth today.
All right. I see Emperor Rex and Desmond have joined the chat. All right. Shout out to you both. Okay. So, with that all being said, you can purchase 12 Tribes Hair Oil at Etsy.com. Just look for Lisa Crafts, and you can also find it at Walmart.com. All right. Shout out to Ladybug77. Okay. So, let's get into it, Nene. All right. Reggie said, for real, shout out to Lisa Cabrera. I know that's right. That's my dear sister. Okay. So, hey, Jeff ATL. All right. Now, let's get into it, honey, because listen, we have Maduro's indictment. And what I find so interesting about it is that there's not one mention of fentanyl in the indictment. Okay? Trump's in here talking about Coca-Cola. Now, I haven't read the entire indictment, so don't let me, but I didn't see anything about fentanyl. Okay? I didn't see anything about fentanyl. That's what I didn't see. Okay? Didn't Trump tell us that that was a weapon of mass destruction? Isn't that what he said? So why did he put Coca-Cola in this indictment? Why did they put that in there? I have several questions. Okay, but anyway, before we get into that, let's get into this. You all know Trump wants Greenland, and he's been talking about it. Okay, so the Prime Minister of Greenland has come out and spoken, and Trump really needs to just give it up. Okay, he is doing the absolute most. But now let's go to this group of people in Venezuela giving their thoughts of what's going on with the whole Maduro and his wife, Celia Flores, being kidnapped. And then we'll see what Greenland's prime minister has to say about Trump's talking about he's going to have Greenland in a couple of months. Did y'all hear him say that on Air Force One last night? Okay, I'm going to roll the clip in a minute. Likes up, everyone, like and share. Thank you. All right, here we go.
¿Dónde está el pronunciamiento de la supuesta premio Nobel que habla de la paz? Al ver que
Nobel
su país,
Peace Prize winner about peace when her country, Venezuela, has been attacked
que Venezuela ha sido atacada por
by American imperialism.
el imperialismo norteamericano. ¿Dónde estás? ¿Dónde están?
Where are you? Where are the countries that haven't spoken out? Like Russia. Where is Putin? Oh, I'm going to tell y'all where Putin is in a minute. Him and Trump are in each other's pockets. Let's talk about it.
Esos países que no se han pronunciado ante esta situación y esta
about this situation in this moment.
Nosotros como pueblo,
we the people,
como
working men and women,
y mujeres trabajadores, exigimos primero
demand first respect, and second, we are out in the streets.
Respeto. Y segundo, estamos en la calle, primero porque
we're here because we believe in democracy.
Que creemos en la democracia, así como nosotros
just like we went out and voted
a votar al pasado 28
this past July 28th for President Nicolas Maduro.
de julio por el presidente Nicolás Maduro, y así como todos los
and just like all sectors of the country
reconocieron la
recognize his victory.
Nosotros hoy exigimos
we now demand that the U.S. government,
al gobierno norteamericano, al imperialismo y
imperialism and all of the transnationals,
a todas las transnacionales que sabemos muy bien que están
who we know are behind this,
detrás de todo esto, que nos regresen,
return our president Nicolas Maduro safe and sound.
Sano y salvo al presidente Nicolás Maduro. ¿Dónde está?
All right. What y'all have to say about that? Dynamic Quality said he's also wanted to take Canada, Mexico, and some other countries. Yes. Okay, absolutely. Cuba, Colombia, Mexico. All right. Yes, Trump has lost his ever-loving mind. Okay, if he ever had one. All right. So anyway, with that all being said, let's get into it because here's what he said when he was on Air Force One about Greenland. Let me share the screen. Let me share the screen. Y'all see that hat he's wearing right there? I'm already sharing the screen. What am I talking about? Y'all see that hat he's wearing right there? Make Venezuelan oil great again. These AI pictures and videos are something else.
In action against Greenland.
Well, I don't want to talk about Greenland. Let's talk about Venezuela, Russia, Ukraine, and we'll worry about Greenland in about 2 months. Let's talk about Greenland in 20 days.
On Venezuela, we talk so much about energy.
By the way, I will say this about Greenland. We need Greenland from a national security situation. It's so strategic. Right now, Greenland is covered with Russian and Chinese ships all over the place. we need Greenland from the standpoint of national security. And Denmark is not going to be able to do it, I can tell you. You know what Denmark did recently to boost up security in Greenland? They added one more dog sled. It's true. They thought that was a great move.
What would the justification be for a claim to Greenland? What would the justification?
Oh, I don't want to talk about Greenland now. I just say this. We need Greenland from the standpoint of national security. And the European Union needs us to have it. And they know that.
So do you all hear this complete bumbling, or shall I say bungling idiot? Now let's go to what the Prime Minister of Greenland had to say about Trump's foolishness. Okay? Lights up, everyone. Okay, statement from Premier of Greenland. Okay, it says, we have been a close and loyal friend to the United States for generations. And this is important to note because I've told you all how Trump is even making our allies turn against us. And you all don't think that some of these former allies and other people who never liked the U.S. in the first place could get together and say, you know what? They think they're bullying all of us. How about we attack them? Okay? Y'all don't think like that because I do. I expect the unexpected. And I also expect that while Trump's in office, he's going to do everything in his power, as he has been doing, to dismantle the United States. Okay? From the inside out and make a whole new United States, okay, of nefariousness. But let's continue. So anyway, he goes on to say, we have been a close and loyal friend of the United States for generations. We have stood shoulder to shoulder in difficult times. We have taken responsibility for security in the North Atlantic and not least for North America. This is what true friends do. Precisely for that reason, the current and repeated rhetoric coming from the United States is entirely unacceptable. When the President of the United States speaks of needing Greenland and links us to Venezuela and military intervention, it is not only wrong, it is disrespectful. Our country is not an object in great power rhetoric. We are a people, a country, a democracy. We must be respected, especially by close and loyal friends. Now, that's important to note as well, because as you heard from the man in Venezuela, that's what he said too. They were demanding respect. Okay, Trump doesn't respect anyone. People who have no respect for anyone are nothing more than narcissists. And let's not forget that psychologist said that Trump is in fact a malignant narcissist. And I know some people, at least one person that's a malignant narcissist, and they are the most nefarious people on the planet. Please pay attention. Psychopaths and sociopaths. Now, with that all being said, goes on to say our country, hold on, I read that. Okay, we are part of NATO and we are fully aware of our country's strategic location. We also understand that our security depends on good friends and strong alliances. In that context, a respectful and loyal relationship with the United States is very important. Now, that has been the case for decades, but alliances are built on trust, and trust requires respect. See, that's what I was talking about when I told y'all the other day, yesterday, in fact. I told you all, I asked you all rather, I said, do you all think that these other countries around the world trust the United States at this point? Of course they don't. And why should they? I don't even trust the United States. Enough is enough. No more pressure, no more insinuations, no more fantasies of annexation. We are open to dialogue. We are open to conversations, but we must, or they must, take place through the proper channels and in full respect of international law, which Trump doesn't give a darn about, we all know. And the proper channels are not random and disrespectful posts on social media. Greenland is our home and our territory, and it will remain so. Okay, Trump, just to let you know, okay, what a complete idiot this man is. All right? What a complete idiot Trump is. Lord, I hate this for the U.S., but I can't help but think that it's our own fault. It is our own fault. Please pay attention. Now, that said, with that all being said, let's get into, oh, and let me tell you all something that I think I figured out, beloveds. Let me just tell you all something. Now, remember when I told you all or not me, Trump actually told you. Remember when Trump said that they put Venezuela in darkness, they took out the power? You all remember that, right? When he said they took out not Greenland, they took out Venezuela's power. And that's how they were able to successfully capture Maduro. Maduro ran towards the safe place, okay, got to the door, but couldn't get it closed. He couldn't close it. Remember, I told you all, or the guy said in that video that he was probably fumbling around in the dark trying to find the lever. No. The reason he couldn't close it is because the power was off, because these rooms are made of steel. Now, have you seen the movie? If you've seen the movie Panic Room, that's likely what a safe room looks like. Okay, same thing. And so with that all being said, those doors open like elevator doors. Okay, they're electronic and they slide open. So if the power's out, the doors are not going to close. And also, it's important to note that the U.S. has come out and admitted that they have been stalking this man, basically. They've had him under surveillance for months, even down to the point that they know what he wears. They know everywhere he goes. They even know about his pets and what he eats. This is what they've come out and said. Okay, thank you for those Reggie for putting ones in the chat. Okay, he has had this man followed for months on end, gathering intel on him. So they knew everything about this man. Now, if you know about his pets, okay, and what he eats and all of that, you've been really doing some serious surveillance. But at the end of the day, Putin, in my opinion, is absolutely involved in this with Trump, just like I told y'all. Honey, my intuition is always on point. Okay, with that being said, well, I'm not going to say always, but most of the time. With that all being said, we'll get to that in a moment. But let me tell you all how Trump put them in the dark. They used a cyber attack. Because if you remember, Trump said we turned out their power. He said we have technology that we can do that. He said something along those lines. So they used a cyber attack. I'm pretty sure. Okay, I'm pretty sure that's what they did, because listen, when I've told you all about the United States being attacked or whatever, or the power grid and all these things being attacked, that will put us in darkness. Okay, that would absolutely put us in darkness. And if you want to put people in darkness so you can conduct an invasion upon them, that's how you would do it. A cyber attack is the answer. That's what Trump and them did. And here's how you know. Here's how you know that's what they did. Please pay attention, because I got receipts today. We're going to get into it. Here's the thing. Venezuela had already publicly accused the United States, okay, some time ago, of committing or conducting a cyber attack on them. Venezuela, specifically its state-run oil company and government officials, have publicly accused the United States of being behind a cyber attack on its systems amid rising tensions between the two countries. Did y'all know this? Because I sure didn't. I found this morning after I realized yesterday that this was a cyber attack. So I started looking into cyber attacks on Venezuela. And this is what I found. So that just confirmed it for me in my mind. Now, Venezuela's state-owned oil company, Petróleos de Venezuela, known as PDVSA, reported that it was the victim of a cyber attack that disrupted administrative systems in mid-December, just a few weeks ago. Was the lamestream talking about? I didn't hear a word of it. In statements reported by multiple news outlets, they say, must have been ones in Venezuela, PDVSA and Venezuelan government officials blamed the United States for the attack, saying it was part of a broader effort by Washington to undermine Venezuelan sovereignty and target its oil industry. Well, isn't this something? The accusation comes against a backdrop of intensely deteriorating U.S.-Venezuelan relations, including U.S. seizures of Venezuelan oil tankers and other hostile actions noted by Venezuelan officials. Okay? And let me just say that this publication that I found this information from is not a United States publication. Okay? So that's what lets me really feel like, was the mainstream media here reporting on this? Because I didn't hear anything about it. Okay, they may have, but again, I didn't hear anything about it. All right, now, Mel says Trump lied and kept saying Venezuela was shipping rugs, and all this time he wants to steal their oil. Honey, I told y'all that. I told y'all that, beloved. That's what I've been telling y'all. And you see that I was right again. I told you the man wants their oil and their rare earth minerals. And specifically, his son, Donald J. Trump, has invested in this company, 179 or 1789 Capital. And that's what they do, is they go around and they gather these rare earth minerals. They went down to North Carolina, I believe it was, and they were getting rare earth magnets is what they got. Okay, it was in North Carolina or South Carolina. I think it was North, but nonetheless, yeah, this is all a money grab. So anyway, goes on to say, likes up everyone, please don't forget to like and share. Now it goes on to say, U.S. authorities have not acknowledged involvement in the cyber attack, and independent verification attributing the incident to the U.S. government has not been publicly presented. Well, I'm pretty sure they probably have figured it out now that it was absolutely the U.S. Okay, 9 times out of 10, I'm gonna say allegedly, but they probably have figured out that that's what it was. Now that this whole thing happened with Maduro, and they were put in the dark once again, or put in the dark. Now, with that all being said, Venezuelan officials say the cyber attack affected administrative systems rather than core oil production, and PDVSA claims operations have largely continued under secure protocols. There is no widely corroborated technical evidence available in public reporting linking the U.S. government directly to the attack. Now, the claim remains a political attribution by Caracas, so they already accused the U.S. of a whole cyber attack. Okay, so I find it interesting. But of course, DC says, prepare to defend your family and your flocks now. Okay, at the end of the day, thank you for your insight into the topic, beloved, and your contribution to the channel. I appreciate you. Peace, love, and blessings. Okay, so now here's the thing. Why do I think Putin was involved? Because Russia was supposed to be protecting Venezuela. Okay, there were supposed to be Russian troops, boots on the ground, protecting them, Russian intelligence and all of that. And conveniently, they were nowhere to be found when the military showed up and abducted Maduro. Okay, I find that interesting, don't you? Hold on, beloveds. So if they weren't there and came right after the fact, I'm sorry, but that just all sounds suspicious to me. And Putin does stand to gain. Okay, for all we know, Trump could have promised Putin Ukraine as long as he gets Venezuela. Dynamic Quality said, what does Putin get out of it? He gets oil out of it. He purchases his oil from Venezuela. Trump may have offered him a lower price if they take over the oil production over there. Who knows? But I couldn't tell you exactly what he would stand to gain, but he would stand to gain something. Okay? So with that all being said, listen to this. Arms and equipment, okay, military and security cooperation. Russia supplies a wide range of military hardware to Venezuela, fighter jets, helicopters, tanks, air defense systems, and other equipment, and provides technical support and maintenance for this equipment. Okay, they have training and advisors, ongoing cooperation, political and diplomatic backing, and all of these things. Okay, so at the end of the day, like I said, Russia was supposed to be over there helping to defend Venezuela. And I find it interesting that they were nowhere to be found. And also, when are they going to tell us how many casualties there were? Because they've come out and said that there were lots of Maduro's security was killed, but as well as some civilians. Okay, I'm just curious. Let me see if I can find it real quick. Number of casualties. Now let's see here. They give a number as of yet. Nah, it doesn't give us any. It just says more than 100 people killed in those boats. Doesn't tell us how many were killed during this operation to take down Maduro. Okay, so with that being said, let's go to this indictment, though. Let's go to this indictment so we can talk about this, because Trump said this man was bringing fentanyl here. Isn't that what he said? All right, so the United States of America versus Nicolas Maduro Moros. Okay, and then a myriad of other people are also listed. Now, for over 25 years, leaders of Venezuela have abused their positions of public trust and corrupted once legitimate institutions to import tons of Coca-Cola into the United States, and has partnered with his co-conspirators to use his illegally obtained authority and the institutions he corroded to transport thousands of tons of Coca-Cola to the United States. Since his early days in Venezuelan government, Maduro Moros has tarnished every public office he has held. As a member of Venezuela's National Assembly, Maduro Moros moved loads of Coca-Cola under the protection of Venezuelan law enforcement. As Venezuelan Minister of Foreign Affairs, Maduro Moros provided Venezuelan diplomatic passports to rug traffickers and facilitated diplomatic cover for planes used by money launderers to repatriate rug traffickers. Hold on, beloveds. Okay, let me put this on. I thought I already had it on Do Not Disturb. Hold on, beloveds. Give me just a second. Okay, now, with that all being said, where was I? Oh, money launderers to repatriate rug proceeds from Mexico to Venezuela. As Venezuela's president, for now de facto ruler, Maduro's Moros allows Coca-Cola fueled corruption to flourish for his own benefit, for the benefit of members of his ruling regime, and for the benefit of his family members. Okay, do y'all hear this? Now I'm gonna skip past this and go down to the I'm gonna go here. Hold on. Let's go to the narco-terrorist organization working in partnership with the defendants. So the FARC, since its founding in 1964, has become one of the largest producers of Coca-Cola in the world. Now, they keep talking about Coca-Cola. They haven't said one word about fentanyl. Okay, that's what I want you all to pay attention to. I'm not going to read this whole thing, but I just wanted to make the point that Trump's sitting here telling us that these people, and we knew he was lying. Okay, the people on this channel, we knew he was lying. Okay, basically now they're just talking about Coca-Cola. But didn't he say, in fact, that fentanyl was a weapon of mass destruction and that's what they were bringing into the country? See, this is how you know it's all lies and BS. Mel said Trump knows where the rugs are coming from and it's not Venezuela. Exactly. Okay, exactly. He just wants their oil. That's all that ever was. He wants their resources. And, honestly, when the United States has ever, been involved in a war, it was always about oil. Okay. Now, in the case of Afghanistan, they wanted the poppy fields over there. Okay. That's what they wanted over there. Stayed over 20 years getting them too, as far as I'm concerned. Okay. So anyway, starting in or about 1999, Venezuela became a safe haven for rug traffickers willing to pay for protection and support corrupt Venezuelan civilian and military officials who operated outside the reach of Colombian law enforcement and armed forces bolstered by United States anti-narcotics assistance. Now, in that environment, Coca-Cola trafficking flourished. So I just want you all to pay attention that, again, they keep talking about Coca-Cola. Then they talk about down here, through their rug trafficking, Maduro, the defendant, and corrupt members of his regime enabled corruption fueled by rug trafficking throughout the region. The transshipment points to Honduras, Guatemala, and Mexico similarly relied on a culture of corruption in which Coca-Cola traffickers operated in those countries paid a portion of their own profits to politicians who protected and aided them. Okay, so far, what does this have to do with the United States? Okay, so anyway, I think we've seen about enough. All right? I think we've seen enough. I want y'all to pay attention. Y'all to pay attention. At the end of the day, this is all nefarious. Okay, so anywho, with that being said, now let's continue. Now listen to this. And here's the thing. Now I want you to listen to what Trump said. I'm going to read it to you. We heard him say it the other day, but I'm going to read it to you again because I want you to think about this. Does it sound like a cyber attack to you? It was dark. The lights of Caracas were largely turned off due to certain expertise that we have. It was dark and it was deadly. That's what he said. Okay? That's what he said. Now, here's the thing. US for the US to use cyber power against another nation in recent memory, I can't think of a time when they have. Okay, I can't think of a time when they have. Can anyone else put it in the chat when the US has conducted a cyber attack, okay, against another nation? And here's the thing too. If they did conduct a cyber attack, which is what I think they absolutely did, especially since they were accused of it just weeks prior, well, the thing is, these operations are usually classified information, and the United States is considered one of the most advanced nations in cyberspace operations, and that's globally. Okay, that's globally. We're like at the top. So with that all being said, for Trump to even come out and say with his stupid self, he can't help but to brag and gloat. That's how ignorant he is. Okay. But for him to come out and say, oh, we have this technology that we can use, he shouldn't have said anything about that as far as I'm concerned. And I really don't think that he was supposed to, but that's how stupid he is. Like I said, he has to gloat and brag about things. So now let's go to some of these videos. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. Thank you in advance. Now, also, Trump came out, and here's the thing. Trump came out and said that Delcy Rodriguez, who's now been sworn in as president, she was formerly the vice president, Trump has said that this lady's going to cooperate with them. He said that Marco Rubio was speaking with her. Hold on, let's get to that. Okay, so, and I do believe that he was absolutely lying. I do believe that he was absolutely lying. But let's just get into it and see. See what we can find. Okay, what y'all think? Now, hold on. Let me share my screen. Dynamic Quasi said, when you get a chance, JD Vance house pew that. Thank you for that information, beloved. I appreciate your insight to the topic and your contribution to the channel. Peace, love, and blessings. Honey, I'm definitely going to look into that. Thanks for letting me know. That's interesting. Or is this another distraction? I mean, you can never be too sure with them.
Venezuela right now. Have you spoken to the newly sworn in president there, Rodriguez?
We're dealing with the people that just got sworn in. And don't ask me who's in charge because I'll give you an answer and it'll be very controversial.
What does that mean?
We're in charge.
Have you spoken with her?
We're in charge.
Have you spoken with her?
No, I haven't, but other people have.
Do you want to?
Yeah, at the right time I will.
Do you see that pushback from Rodriguez and ultimately...
Well, I don't think there was pushback. I think that...
She called it...
Well, you hear a different person than I hear.
Really? So you have spoken with her?
We talked to him, yeah.
Oh, you did speak with her.
Now, did y'all hear this man sitting here lying? Did you all not hear him just sit here and tell a whole lie? She asked him if he had spoken to Delcy Rodriguez. He said no. She then goes on to ask him who's in charge or whatever. He says, we're in charge. And then when she tells him, what about the pushback? He says, oh, I don't think there's any pushback. You're hearing something different than what I'm hearing. She says, so you have spoken to her. Oh, yes, I spoke to her. You literally just said you didn't. Do y'all hear how he just makes stuff up as he goes? Haven't I been telling y'all this for how long? Let's continue.
They've been very good.
Because she called it kidnapping of Maduro.
It's all right. It's not a bad term. Go ahead.
Who's in charge of Venezuela right now? Have you spoken to...
Y'all heard that? Y'all heard that, right? This man is a hot mess. He has not talked to this woman. I don't believe it. And then also, another thing is, he also said that Marco Rubio was the one that had spoken to her. Okay, I think I reported that to you all even yesterday. He said Marco Rubio had spoken to her. Hold on. Let me pull this up. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. Thank you in advance. Here we go. Is this it? Okay, so this is how the new Venezuelan president is contradicting Trump. Let's go to that. while I looked for Marco Rubio when he was sitting there just lying through his teeth and couldn't even find the words to say for a few seconds.
So according to the Malinche, Marco Rubio, he spoke to Delcy Rodriguez and said that she agreed basically to do whatever the United States says, that she offered, and Trump said, very gracious lady, but they don't have an option. So that makes it sound like she's in line with everything. So why is she saying this? I'm going to translate for you before I put the clip. She's saying that all of the defense systems on the street, Pueblo a la calle, are activated to defend their resources. And she specifically says hidrocarburos, which refers to oil. Their oil resources will be defended. Watch a clip if you speak Spanish.
Solano tiene una muy alta conciencia de lo que significan sus hidrocarburos y de lo que significan sus recursos energéticos. Bueno, este Consejo de Defensa de la Nación se activa.
She says it will be defended. So where is the agreement with the U.S.? Before we put people on the ground to run that country and to take over the oil, we probably going to need to secure the place. And what she says these thugs over here are going out on the street demanding the release of Maduro and promising to protect Venezuela. And these thugs are the problem. These are the guys out of control. These are the guys we're going to have to face to ensure safety for any U.S. people to come down to Caracas. So could it be that the lying fucking president that we have and the bullshit administration that they have are lying to us? That sounds like the most logical answer. Well, unless you're MAGA, then logic and reason, critical thinking are not your thing.
Y'all heard that? Okay, now wait till you hear this. I found this so interesting. Let me just tell y'all something. Marco Rubio is a liar and a disgrace to his ethnicity, as far as I'm concerned. Okay, because these are his people. All right? Isn't he a Latino? Yeah, I'm pretty sure he is. Now let's continue. This is all nefarious. Now here's the thing. In this clip, Marco Rubio admits, I want you all to pay attention, because remember, when Pete Hegseth accidentally leaked information in a private chat that got to a reporter, and this is information that could have gotten someone killed, didn't we call it Chatgate? I want you all to pay attention, because Marco Rubio, in this clip, admits that there was a leak. There was a leak, and this leak could have caused many of the U.S. soldiers to have gotten killed. Now, he thanks the media for not reporting on the story until after the fact, because the media, it was leaked to them. Okay? Who leaked it? Let's get into it.
I'm still not clear on what the legal authority is for the United States to run the country of Venezuela, but several members of Congress and other legal experts have said this operation to take Maduro was illegal because you didn't seek congressional authorization. Why wasn't congressional authorization necessary?
It wasn't necessary because this was not an invasion. We didn't occupy a country. This was an arrest operation. This was a law enforcement operation. He was arrested on the ground in Venezuela by FBI agents, read his rights, and removed from the country. I encourage everyone, I know it's Sunday, people are busy, but the indictments have now been unsealed. People should read this indictment. They should read this indictment. They should read what this man did for the last 15 years of his life against the United States, him and his wife. He was arrested. Obviously, this was not a friendly territory. So in order to arrest him, we had to ask the Department of War to become involved in this operation. The Department of War went in, they hit anything that was a threat to the agents that were going in to arrest him, and they hit anything that was a threat on the way out, and they hit anything that was a threat to them while they were on the ground. And that was a very limited and targeted operation. It is also a trigger-based operation. All kinds of conditions had to be in place. The weather had to be right. He had to be staying in a certain spot. Everything had to be in place for order that to happen. You can't congressionally notify something like this for two reasons. Number one, it will leak. It's as simple as that. And number two, it's an exigent circumstance. It's an emergent thing that you don't even know if you're going to be able to do it. We can't notify them we're going to do it on a Tuesday or on a Wednesday, because at some points we didn't know we were going to be able to carry this out. We didn't know if all of the things that had to line up were going to line up at the same time in the right conditions. You know, he had to be at the right place at the right time with the right weather and all things like that. So those are very difficult to notify. But the number one reason is operational security.
Well,
we would have put
as you know,
carried this on in harm's way. And frankly, a number of media outlets had gotten leaks that this was coming and held it for that very reason. And we thank them for doing that, or lives could have been lost. American lives.
I know y'all heard that. He said, and there was a leak. Media got it, and he thanked them for holding it, or lives could have been lost. Okay, do y'all hear this? See, this is further proof this administration is incompetent. They don't know what they're doing. Okay, they don't know what they're doing. I'm sorry, I don't care what anybody says. They are clueless. Okay? So anyway, with that all being said, sitting up there lying. Now, the New York Times and Washington Post learned of Trump's administration's plans for Venezuela shortly before they carried it out on Friday. So they already knew. It was leaked. According to a report from Semaphore journalists at the publications, they held off publishing the information to avoid endangering U.S. troops. Now, the decisions in the New York and Washington newsrooms to maintain official secrecy is in keeping with long-standing American journalistic traditions, even at a moment of unprecedented mutual hostility between the American president and a legacy media that continues to dominate national security reporting. Okay, this is what Semaphore's Max Tony and Shelby Talcott said. So even though they have a problem with Trump, some of the media outlets or whatever, they didn't divulge that information. And of course not. For what? The soldiers could have gotten killed, and they don't have anything to do with the beef they have with Trump. So that only makes sense to me. But had that gotten into the hands of the wrong people, those people could have been sitting there waiting on our military to show up and completely ambush them. Okay? And also, Trump said that none of the U.S. soldiers were killed. Some were injured. I don't even believe him on that. Because you think he would want to admit something like that? I don't think so. Okay? Now, let's go to what Trump says about the Colombian president, Gustavo Petro.
Gustavo Petro, a couple weeks ago, he said he's got to watch his ass. And today, he said he's not concerned about anything happening to him in the aftermath of this operation. So, just what your message is?
Well, he has cocaine mills. He has factories where he makes cocaine. And yeah, I think I stick by my first statement. He's making cocaine. They're sending it into the United States. So he does have to watch his ass.
Colombian President Gustavo Petro.
This is a president talking like this, telling another president that he needs to watch his arse. Now he's talking about this man has rug mills. First of all, what is a rug mill? Okay. This is all so interesting. Let's continue.
So in response to the United States taking sanctioned oil from Venezuela, Colombian President Gustavo Petro criticized the United States by saying, well, the Southwest is stolen land and that it should be returned to Latin America. I just wanted to know what your response to that is.
Well, he has to watch because, he's got drug factories. They make cocaine in Colombia. And he's no friend of the United States. He's very bad guy. And he's got to watch his ass because he makes cocaine and they send it into the United States of America from Colombia. We love the Colombian people. I love the Colombian people. They're great people, energetic, smart, great. But their new leader is a troublemaker. And he better watch it. You better close up those cocaine factories. They have at least 3 major cocaine factories. We know where they are. He better close them up fast, yeah. By the way, it's made and sold into the United States. Comes through Mexico. Yeah, go ahead, please.
Now, isn't that interesting? Isn't that interesting? Didn't I, in fact, tell you all? Trump just admitted it. He said it comes through Mexico. So why did he attack Venezuela? He literally just said it comes through Mexico, okay? And now he's going after Colombia. I told y'all, this is all about a money grab. Sad to say. Okay, but some of these MAGA idiots believe everything Trump tells them. Hold on. Oh, nefarious.
A very sick neighbor. It's not a neighbor, but it's close to a neighbor. And that's Venezuela. It's very sick. Colombia is very sick, too, run by a sick man who likes making cocaine and selling it to the United States. And he's not going to be doing it very long, let me tell you.
What does that mean? He's not going to be doing it very long.
He's not doing it very long. He has cocaine mills and cocaine factories. He's not going to be doing it very long.
So there will be an operation by the U.S. and
it sounds good to me. Now, we have a very...
He said it sounds good to him. Mel said Trump's not proving anything. Yeah, except he's a malignant narcissist and whole fool to boot. Now, if Delcy Rodriguez refuses to do the right thing, the consequences she faces could be even more severe than those awaiting Maduro. This is Trump talking. Frankly, any effort to rebuild Venezuela, whether you call it regime change or something else, would be an improvement over the current situation. It simply can't get any worse. The country is in complete collapse. It's failed on every level, economically, politically, socially. It's a disaster from top to bottom.
Trump has just made a statement on Venezuela once again, this time targeting Delcy Rodriguez. He said if Delcy Rodriguez refuses to do the right thing, the consequences she faces could be even more severe than those awaiting Maduro. Frankly, any effort to...
Now, with that all being said, I'm going to the next clip. I didn't need to hear her read the same thing I just read, but I want you all to listen to this. Democrats, where are you? Are y'all collecting evidence? Like, what's going on? Okay. What is going on? Are the Democrats steady gathering evidence so they can impeach this man, file Articles 2 or something? Please tell me it's a yes.
He seems to be saying that Delcy Rodriguez has been sworn in. She was the vice president, and now she's stepping up and she's going to do basically what she's told, whilst she's actually on the television at that time denouncing what's been going on. So I don't understand what. And then he's asked about, the opposition leader, and he says, Maria Corina Machado, asks about her, and he says, she doesn't have any credibility and she doesn't have any support. What is going on? I don't think he has a plan. I think he would like American oil industry to take over Venezuelan oil industry because it would make a great deal of money, and there's a lot of, resource there, and it's the biggest oil resource in the world. So I think he'd like to do that. And if he needs to run Venezuela in the meantime, he thinks that the guys behind him can do that. I mean, the guys behind him can't do that. The guys behind him have other jobs, and you can't, and they don't have anybody. I mean, how many people are they going to send into Venezuela in order to run it? And anybody who steps up with American backing will be seen as an American puppet. What is he actually saying?
Okay, let's go to this next clip where Marco Rubio is questioned about speaking with Delcy Rodriguez.
Rodriguez, who is now, according to President Trump, sworn in as the president, as the leader of Venezuela. Did she promise you that she is expelling all those American adversaries from Venezuelan territory? What exactly did she agree to do when she spoke to you?
We are.
Pay close attention to his face. This man looks like he's caught off guard because remember, Trump said that Rubio is the one who spoke to Delcy Rodriguez. I don't think he spoke to her at all. Okay, I just think the man's lying. I think he looks perplexed when she speaks of it, mentions it. He looks like he's confused, caught off guard. That's my opinion. Let me roll it back so you can see.
Expelling all those American adversaries from Venezuelan territory. What exactly did she agree to do when she spoke to you?
We are going to, our objectives when it comes to how Venezuela impacts the national interest of the United States have not changed, and we want those addressed. We want drug trafficking.
That's not what she even asked him. And I want you to pay attention to how he gaslights and deflects. Now, she asked him specifically, did he speak to Delcy Rodriguez? What did she say? Did she say she's going to cooperate or not? He's not going to answer that question, okay? Because Trump's lying and so is he.
trafficking to stop. We want no more gang members to come our way. We don't want to see the Iranian and, by the way, Cuban presence in the past. We want the oil industry in that country not to go to the benefit of pirates and adversaries of the United States, but for the benefit of the people. We want to see all of that happen. We insist on seeing that happen.
Did she
and
promise
we are
that?
going to work to continue to see that happen. Well, right now, we are going to see what happens moving forward. Let me just say that. I'm not obviously going to have these conversations in the media. These are delicate and complicated things that
Oh, so he doesn't want to have this conversation in the media. But that's funny because Trump had this conversation in the media. Trump said that you spoke to Delcy Rodriguez and she agreed to cooperate. Okay. Do y'all hear this? Yeah, he doesn't want to repeat the lie because he knows it's a lie. So he'll just tell another lie, but not that one. Also, of note, it's important to remember that Trump said they, meaning the U.S., he and the U.S. or his regime or his minions, they're going to take over and be running Venezuela until there's a smooth transition. Isn't that what he said? He said it was indefinitely. Then Rubio comes out and he doesn't want to say that. So he tries to flip the script. Okay, these people are so ridiculous. This just lets you know that Trump does not have a solid plan. I don't think. He's just doing whatever the hell Putin and whoever else is telling his dumb self to do. Okay.
require mature statesmanship, and that's what we intend to do. But our goals remain the same. The difference is that the person who was in charge, even though not legitimately, in the past was someone you could not work with. We just could not work with him. He is not a person that had ever kept any of the deals he made, broke every deal he ever made a fool out of the Biden administration on the deal they made with him. And we offered him on multiple occasions an opportunity to remove himself from the scene in a positive way. He chose not to do so.
But his number two is now running the country. His number two is someone you can work with. And is that what you're implying here? And did she tell you that she will transition to democracy? And the woman who won the election along with her partner there, Maria Corina Machado.
We are going to make our assessments of people. You're asking me to make an assessment. We're going to make an assessment on the basis of what they do, not what they say publicly in the interim, not what what they've done in the past in many cases, but what they do moving forward. So we're going to find out. You're asking me, do I know what decisions people are going to make? I don't. I do know this, that if they don't make the right decisions, the United States will retain multiple levers of leverage to ensure that our interests are protected. And that includes the oil quarantine that's in place, among other things. Well, but we are going to judge moving forward. We're going to judge everything by what they do. And we're going to see what they do.
You spoke with Delcy Rodriguez, who is now
Okay, so he's clearly lying. Okay, no surprise there, though. Don't they all lie? C-Stan says, peace, love, and blessings, Queen. Thank you, beloved. I appreciate your kind words. Okay, peace, love, and blessings back at you. And thank you for your contribution to the channel. Now, with that all being said, let's go to this video of this guy dragging Marco Rubio. He's dragging. Okay, somebody needs to do it. I can't do it by myself. Let me put this up here.
Just got carved up on live TV and exposed for arresting Maduro over indictments on drug trafficking charges, yet Donald Trump pardoned the former president of Honduras, who had even more charges. Look at this embarrassing moment for Rubio.
Read the indictment. This guy used the levers of their security apparatus not to arrest drug traffickers, but to cooperate and facilitate the trafficking of drugs for the purpose of getting them into the United States. And that's going to stop.
And yet, Mr. Secretary, a month ago, President Trump pardoned the former president of Honduras, who was just starting a 45-year sentence for trafficking more than 500 tons of cocaine. Does that not undercut the administration's stated goal, as you just said, to go after these narco-terrorists?
Number one, the former president of Honduras. So this is not someone who was in power, had any influence.
Now he says, number one, former president of Honduras. Now this is not someone who's in power. Sir, that's common sense. We all know he wasn't in power. That's why he needed a pardon. Okay, because he was in prison, clearly, fool. I want y'all to pay attention. This man does not want to answer these darn questions because he has no answers that make sense.
the politics of Honduras any longer. Number two, I don't do the pardon file. I'm not against it or for it. I just didn't review the file, so I can't speak to you about the dynamics that led the president to make the decision that he made.
So he knows all about one indictment for Maduro, but suddenly he has no idea about what Trump did with the president of Honduras. You can tell how nervous he is because the story doesn't add up. They can't even keep their own lies straight. This has nothing to do with the rule of law. This has everything to do with endless regime change war in Venezuela so we can steal their oil and change their government. Marco Rubio just got carved up on live TV.
I think this is all just so nefarious. Now let's go to the next. In a minute, we're going to talk about J.D. Vance. Okay, I was just pulling up the receipts on that.
Rodriguez, who is Maduro's vice president, who Trump just recognized as Venezuela's leader. I've received hundreds of questions about this, but they really boil down to one. Is she any different from Maduro? The answer is no, and here's why. The Venezuelan regime is not a traditional dictatorship. It's not one man holding all the power. Yes, Maduro was the president, but he never called all the shots. In Venezuela, the regime survives even if Maduro is gone. The best way to describe it is as a mafia state. Different figures control different areas of power and influence. Roughly.
Now pay attention, he described it as a mafia state, okay, which is exactly what Trump's in right now. I told you all Trump's running this whole U.S. like a mafia boss, okay, but let's continue.
50 families effectively control the country, extracting money from their respective spheres of influence. Key to understand is this: Maduro was never the ultimate power broker. He was the figurehead, the man presented as president to the world. Beneath him, there are multiple powerful actors. These are just
Now, none of this should surprise any of you because I promise you, this is exactly what goes on in the United States, in my opinion. Okay? They put a person in charge as the president who's nothing more than a figurehead. Meanwhile, the main people who are the puppet masters are telling this person what to do. Presidents are selected, not elected, in my opinion. But let's continue.
a few of them. Each has their own sphere of influence, and they don't always agree with each other. Now, why does that matter? Because Delcy Rodriguez is just one cog in the machine. She does not control the other power centers inside the regime. By recognizing her as president, Trump actually might be exploiting those internal divisions, potentially accelerating the regime's collapse. Delcy and her brother, Jorge Rodriguez, both served under Chavez, but their rise to the highest levels of power happened under Maduro. When Maduro took office in 2013, he named her as foreign minister. Today, she's vice president and oil minister, and is just as responsible for the regime's crimes as anyone else. Within this convoluted power structure, Delcy and her brother were seen as particularly close to Maduro. And that matters because Maduro's gone. The other players, they remain. Most notably, Diosdado Cabello, who likely wields more power inside Venezuela than Maduro ever did. Cabello controls the police, intelligence services, and has been linked to massive corruption, drug trafficking, and criminal networks across the region. He's not going to give up that power just because Delcy Rodriguez cuts a deal with Trump. Internally, the regime is panicking. Without Maduro and Cilia Flores, the delicate balance holding it together has been shaken. Technically, as vice president, Delcy should now become acting president, but she's publicly insisted that Venezuela only has one president, Nicolás Maduro. Now that Trump has recognized her authority, the real games begin. Other senior officials, many much more powerful than Delcy, will move to protect their own interests. It's a perfect storm, a way to fracture the regime from within. If you ask me,
I think it's all nefarious, honey. That's what I think. Did y'all hear that? Honey, he gave a whole full-on breakdown. All right. I think he's Venezuelan, by the way. So that was really interesting. Okay. Really interesting. But it just sounds like the same sort of thing that goes on here in the United States with certain families in charge running the show, okay, with somebody set up, put in front of everybody and told what to do. Or in Trump's case, you know, some of the stuff and the nefariousness, he absolutely goes off script and does himself, in my opinion. But let's continue. Likes up, everyone, please. Don't forget to like and share.
Would you be willing to pay to get a dictator out of your country? That's the question that many Venezuelans are currently asking themselves because no one has any love lost for Nicolás Maduro. He was considered an illegitimate leader, considered to have taken his political position by force, very clearly not a good guy. So now many Venezuelans are asking themselves, is this the end of a 27-year regime. Also having to reconcile with the fact that the United States just invaded Caracas, likely 40 people in the process, kidnapped a head of state, whether they were legitimate or not, kidnapped someone who was considered a head of state unilaterally. And Donald Trump isn't even trying to lie about why we went in there. It was clearly about oil. He said that we're going to go in, we're going to run Venezuela, we're taking over the oil, we're going to fix the infrastructure, we're sending in the big oil companies. The conversation immediately turned to oil the same day Maduro was kidnapped. Personally, I condemn the actions of the United States. I think that we should face repercussions at the international level. I think that we broke international laws, and I think we should be held accountable to that. I also think that Donald Trump should be removed from office. I also understand that many Venezuelans are hoping that the continued conversations that the United States government is now having with the existing vice president of Venezuela aren't early signs that they're going to continue to empower this regime with someone who's loyalist to Donald Trump. What price would you be?
Okay, I want y'all to pay attention. Reggie said he's reading his mind. Okay, rinse and repeat. Exactly, and mine too. Now, here's the thing. So, will Delcy Rodriguez, here's the question for me, will Delcy Rodriguez go ahead and agree to cooperate with Trump and his minions to avoid prison time or trial and all of that stuff that Maduro's going to get? Or will she continue to fight and be opposition? Okay, this is all interesting because she very well could just go ahead and go along with Trump just so, she doesn't get any prison time. But I don't think that's going to happen. I think this is about to get real ugly real quick. Okay? And also, here's the thing. Now, Russia is supposed to be a key ally of Venezuela. So, with that all being said, Russia, I told you all, they get their oil from Venezuela. Russia has extended billions of dollars in loans to Venezuela as well, okay? They have extended billions of dollars in loans to Venezuela as well. So, I just find it interesting. That Russia or their troops that were there just conveniently were nowhere to be found when Maduro was abducted. Now listen to this, a surprise raid on the capital in the dead of night, ending with the capture of the country's leader. By the following day, the invading power announces it will rule the nation for an indefinite period. That is how Vladimir Putin, envisioned his full-scale invasion of Ukraine, playing out in February of 2022. Okay, didn't I tell y'all before, at least a week ago, that Trump's taking a play out of Putin's handbook? I reported this to you, and now it's being reported by The Guardian, but let me continue. Instead, it was Donald Trump who pulled it off in Venezuela in an operation condemned by many as illegal, whisking away the Kremlin's historic ally, Nicolas Maduro, who now faces trial in New York. Now, in public, Russian officials have reacted with anger, condemning the attack as a flagrant violation of international law and a dangerous precedent. Remember, they had their foreign affairs minister. The Minister of Foreign Affairs, they had him speak about it. Putin didn't say anything publicly yet, at least not to my knowledge. But beyond the rhetoric, there is a sense of grudging respect and even envy at the effectiveness of the coup that Moscow itself once imagined, but failed to execute because of a series of intelligence blunders and Ukraine's strong resistance. So the operation was carried out competently with pro-Kremlin Telegram channel Diva Mayora, which has close ties to the Russian military. They say most likely this is exactly how our special military operation was meant to unfold: fast, dramatic, and decisive. It's hard to believe Valery Gerasimov planned to be fighting for 4 years. It added, referring to Russia's chief of the general staff. Now, such commentary has fed a mood of soul-searching among pro-war voices, with some openly questioning how Russia's promised blitzkrieg in Ukraine morphed into a protracted and deadly war. Okay, so anyway, I'm going to skip past some of this because this is a lot. Okay, so for more than 2 decades, Venezuela sought to cultivate a network of anti-American allies from Russia and China to Cuba and Iran in the hope of helping to shape a new axis capable of standing up to Washington. Yet, despite Russia's foreign minister pledging support for Maduro's regime as recently as late December, a few serious analysts ever suspected or expected Moscow to come to his rescue in any meaningful way. Bogged down in Ukraine, Russia has over the past year watched other key allies fall from power or weaken sharply. From Bashar al-Assad in Syria to the increasingly weakened Iran, laying bare the limits of Kremlin's reach. For Russia, the situation is deeply uncomfortable. This is what Fyodor Lukyanov said, a foreign policy expert who advises the Kremlin. Venezuela is a close partner and ideological ally, and Maduro and Putin have long-standing ties, leaving Moscow with little choice but to express outrage at the U.S.'s actions. Yet providing any real assistance to a country so distant and operating in a fundamentally different geological reality is simply not feasible. Okay, it's not feasible for technical and logistical reasons. Y'all hear this? So Putin's priority, according to the analysts, is Ukraine, and maintaining a good relationship with Trump on the front far outweighs the fate of Caracas. See, that's what I told y'all. Y'all don't think that Putin told his soldiers not to intervene? You don't think he told his intelligence not to intervene, not to give any intel? This is why I told you all. It wasn't hard for me to see, because I knew prior to this that Russia is supposed to be giving them some sort of protection and security. Okay? They're supposed to be like their biggest ally, at least one. So with that all being said, hold on, Maduro pleads not guilty during arraignment. Oh, okay. Yeah, exactly. I thought it said guilty. Okay, so now with that all being said, Putin and Trump are currently focused on a far more consequential issue for Moscow, Ukraine. Okay? And for all the Kremlin sympathies towards Caracas, it is unlikely to upend a much larger strategic gain with a critical partner over what it sees as a secondary concern. This is what Lukyanov said. Still, Russia's loss of Venezuela carries several tangible costs for Moscow. If a U.S.-friendly government were to emerge in Caracas, American military and defense specialists could gain access to large parts of Venezuelan army forces' arsenal, including advanced Russian-made systems supplied over the past decade. Now, those include an S-300VM air defense systems delivered in 2013, as well as an undisclosed number of Panzer and BUK-M2 systems transferred in late 2025. Moscow has also extended billions of dollars in loans to Venezuela. Okay, and they likely won't get that back if now that Maduro's been taken out of power. But guess what? They're going to recoup it some way. So they say if our American partners gain access to Venezuela's oil fields, more than half of the world's oil reserves will end up under their control. This is what Oleg Deripaska, a powerful Russian billionaire industrialist, said on Telegram. And it appears that their plan will be to ensure that the price of our oil does not rise above $50 a barrel. There it is. There it is. Okay. I'm sorry. Are y'all listening? There it is right there. Russia is absolutely in cahoots. Okay, Putin is in cahoots. Like I told y'all, honey, y'all gonna learn to listen. Did y'all hear that? Did y'all hear that? Dynamic quality, you heard that, right? Because you asked, what does Putin stand to gain? Well, there it is. There it is. He's going to definitely, he's not going to do any peace with Ukraine, okay? Not in my opinion. But make sure if our American partners, that means they're in cahoots, people, gain access to Venezuela's oil fields, more than half of America or the world's oil reserves will end up under America's control. Okay? And that's interesting because America is supposedly the only one that can, hold on. Let me just make sure before I get into that. Okay, anyway, this is what he said. So I'm sorry. Make sure the price of our oil does not rise above $50 a barrel. Are y'all listening? I absolutely knew that this was not what they were making it look like. Okay. Now, with that all been said, let's go to this clip from Godfrey because I need to find something real quick. I'm about to do a little research. So you all check out this video by Godfrey where he's clowning Trump. Let me put an overlay on here.
Threatening the Colombian president. Trump is on a South American run. He's going after Latinos like it ain't nobody's business. And it's like, and he's literally threatening them like a 40s bully. He better wise up. He better wise up. He said some things I don't know. I've been thinking about it.
I haven't given him a lot of thought. He's going to have himself some big problems if he doesn't wise up.
He better wise up. He better wise up. I'm telling you, he better wise up because there's going to be a lot of bad things happening to him. Got lots of cocaine. They're bringing lots of cocaine into the U.S.
Colombia is producing a lot of drugs. They have cocaine factories that they make cocaine, as you know, and they sell it right into the United States. So he better wise up.
Really? It's always the same thing. The drugs, it's drugs, oil. It's the same usual suspects. It's the same game. It's been going on since the 50s and 60s and 70s. It's the same shit with Pablo Escobar, with Chavez, it's always the same shit. Noriega. It's the same repeated bullshit since the fucking days of Reagan. Well, there's too many drugs we have to stop the drugs. And Reagan was bringing drugs into Harlem and all this other shit. He was one of the biggest drug dealers. And then his wife was like, they know the drugs. It's the same damn game, and Trump is literally fucking sounded like a 40s bully. And he goes, they're bringing cocaine into America. Okay, please. Really? You trying to stop drugs? You trying to stop drugs, Trump? Really? Too much cocaine. What are white women going to do when they go to the bathroom in pairs? You have to have cocaine here. You need them. Who's going to?
Godfrey, cut it out. Okay, cut it out. No, y'all heard that, right? Y'all heard that, right? Reggie said, no, we don't know. Please provide evidence. Let me tell y'all something. Trump is ghetto. Okay, Trump and his minions, they're all ghetto. They like to use that word when they refer to us. But everything he's doing is straight ghetto. He's a whole hood rat. There is a hood rat in the damn White House. I want y'all to pay attention. I'm about to conclude this broadcast. Okay? I'm about to conclude the broadcast. Dynamic Quality said, Queen, your analysis is superior. Thank you, beloved. Thank you. I appreciate you. Okay, now you all know that I have spiritual gifts, so sometimes I'll just be knowing stuff, okay, intuitively. Okay, now with that all being said, I want you all to see this video, okay, of this light show where they had an image of Jesus rising up into the air. Now, I'm sorry, but for me, it was just giving demonic energy. I didn't find anything amusing about it. It was something nefarious about it, in my opinion. But I want you all to see this and tell me what you think about it. It's just a few seconds of this clip. I want you all to tell me your thoughts. Okay, that was just a bit creepy for me. Like I said, I wasn't feeling it. Okay, I wasn't feeling it. You know what it reminded me of, real quick? It reminded me of Operation Bluebeam. When it says that they're going to use, and this is, some people say it's a conspiracy theory, but this man, Sergio Montes, gave this information decades ago. But where they're supposed to use the sky as a projector and have a hologram of Jesus. Okay, acting like it's the rapture, okay, to fool people for nefarious reasons and purposes. For those of you who saw that video, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So that's just what it reminded me of. I didn't find anything intriguing about it. I thought it was very unnecessary and just, it was giving me some type of negative energy. That's all I'm saying. Reggie said, that's because their Jesus is in the sky. Donna McQuasi says, I'm sorry, but who actually believes that a being named Jesus is actually returned? What? Oh, at the end of the day, what about Yahshua? Is Yahshua going to return? Okay, Yeshua, because Jesus definitely wasn't the name. But anywho, y'all are a whole hot mess. Okay. Tristan says, I know nothing from the Bible going to happen, but I want to believe. Okay, this world is doomed under those people. I'm not going to say who. You know, listen, the devil is in fact busy, beloveds. But all things work for the good of those who love the Lord. Isn't that what the Bible teaches us? So let's just stay positive and just know that no matter what happens, because it's about to get real ugly before it gets better, there's going to be a whole lot of floods and things. Okay, there's going to be mass chaos. Okay, there's going to be more wars. There's going to be a whole lot of things that's going to be happening in the next few years. But with that all being said, Reggie said the stairway to heaven in my spine. Exactly. Okay. And for those of you who know about esoteric knowledge, you know exactly what Reggie is referring to. Okay. So anyway, listen, I'm about to get out of here. I want to thank you all for tuning in. Y'all better stay prayed up. And let me tell you all something. Stock up on your non-perishable food items and everything like I've been telling you, because just like they went over there and put Venezuela in the dark with a whole cyber attack, allegedly. Yeah. Look for that to happen to the U.S. Okay. I'm telling you now, I've been telling you since 2020. And guess what? The time is nigh. It's coming. Okay. I want y'all to pay attention. And don't say I didn't warn you. With that all being said, that's right. Reg said, do your shadow work, people. Exactly. Okay. Reg is making me want to go on the spiritual channel. We're going to have to get on there this week. Okay. I need to stop playing. It's just that I have some things that I've been working on. Hold on. I forgot about JD Vance. Hold on. Queen, Tim Walz is dropping out of the governor's race. Oh, really? Well, you know, they probably have made him feel so or look so bad because of the Somalian fraud that they keep talking about. And here's the thing. Let me just talk about that real quick. You know, they were talking about the Somalians committing all this fraud, and they keep coming out with more stories of fraud on a daily basis. So here's the thing, though. When there has ever been fraud, there's usually somebody who don't look like me involved. And the reason being is because when fraud is conducted in these big corporations, it's usually the CEOs. And 99%, I'm sure, of the CEOs, I'll say at least 90% of the CEOs in the US are white. So just like that whole thing with the Feeding the Future, where they said that was fraud in the Somalian community, but I told you all that the white woman, Amy Bach, okay, she was the head of it. She was the mastermind. They're not talking about her name. She hasn't even been sentenced yet. Other people are already in prison serving sentences. She hasn't been sentenced yet. I want you all to pay attention to those things. Okay, it's very important. So when they're saying Somalian fraud, here's the bottom line. Who's doing it? Who's at the top of the food chain? Amy Bach in one situation. I'll guarantee you in the other situations they're talking about, it's more people who look like Amy Bach at the top. Okay, and another thing that I find interesting is when it's, you can tell that Trump is painting a narrative because fraud is never discussed in black and white. It's never discussed as race or ethnicity. It's usually discussed by the person doing it, if it's an individual, or if it's multiple people within a company or organization, it's usually called out about the company. They'll usually say, for example, if a company, let's say a company is called Brockett Produce. Just made that up off the top of my head. I don't know why I got that, but if there's a company called Brockett Produce, for example, and they're engaging in fraud, the newspaper headlines and the media will say Brockett Produce engaged in fraud. Now, if there were a bunch of white folk who work at Brockett Produce, they're not going to say the white community is engaged in fraud. Caucasians are doing fraud. They're never going to say that. Okay, they're never going to say that. That's not what they're going to say. But if it's immigrants or black people, they will say it. They'll make it like it's the entirety of the community, like everybody's doing it, not just a select few. They'll act like everybody's doing it. So they call it Somalian fraud. And I'm not defending the Somalians because at the end of the day, many of them don't like us. Let's just keep it a buck. But at the end of the day, let's please pay attention at the same time. They'll call it Somalian fraud because this helps their narrative with them further demonizing the immigrants that they want to mass deport up out of here. Not just the Somalians, all of the immigrants that are brown, okay, the ones they don't want. But they don't have a problem with the Ukrainian immigrants or the South Africans, except for that one man who foolishly came here on a plane on a tourist visa talking about asylum. Okay, I just want y'all to pay attention to that. And like I said, it is usually the company CEO who is the main one doing it, who's the one that's at the top of the food chain with all of this stuff going on. All right. So for them to be, making it about race or ethnicity, that's them painting narratives. That's all they're doing. Okay. And I can't defend that. Whether the Somalians like us or not. Because just like they did it to them, they can do it to us. And I keep telling y'all that. So let's talk about J.D. Vance's house, and then we're out of here. Suspect arrested after vandalizing J.D. Vance's Cincinnati home, according to reports. Okay, let's go to the footage. That's right, Reggie.
Breaking now on Fox.
Reggie said, Danger said, right, great explanation and compassion. Thank you, beloved. I appreciate you. Queen Sam said the hypocrisy of this never been great, America. Okay, and then Reggie, hold on. Hold on. Oh, there it is. Reggie said, or the small hats in New York City and New Jersey. Don't forget New Jersey, beloved. Okay. Okay, so let's get into it.
Fox 19, the United States Secret Service confirms a man is in custody accused of vandalizing the home of Vice President J.D. Vance.
Taylor Davis is live outside of Vance's home in East Walnut Hills. Now that the sun has risen, have you seen anything else out there, Taylor?
Well, right now we are able to see a little of the damage. We learned from U.S. Secret Service that this man right here, William DeFore, is accused of vandalizing Vice President J.D. Vance's home. William DeFore, we're working to get more information on the charges, but they did send us a statement that I am reading in part. In this statement, which will read, the Secret Service says the incident happened just after midnight. The agency says the man was physically detained by Secret Service agents. The home was unoccupied at the time, and the vice president and his family were not in Ohio. I'm going to step out of the way because since we've been here, we've been seeing a Secret Service vehicle parked at the end of the driveway. And since the sun has come up, we've been seeing agents walking around the home as well. They tell us that there are several broken windows at the home. We're going to continue to follow up on this story, but we also know from the Secret Service is that they are coordinating with Cincinnati Police and the U.S. Attorney's Office as charging decisions are being reviewed. In East Walnut Hills with photojournalist David Palmer, I'm Taylor Davis, Fox 19 Now.
Okay. So Mel said, bet you he voted for Trump and J.D. Vance. Of course he did. And that's why he's probably mad. Okay, that's why he's probably mad and went and did that, because they're not doing what he thought they were going to do, clearly. He's probably struggling hard right about now, like many people. Okay. So with that all being said, let me go to this clip real quick. I know I told y'all that was the last one, but I forgot something else. Hold on. We're almost done, beloveds.
Saddam Hussein now has weapons of mass destruction.
Weapons of mass destruction. Now we all know that was complete bullshit. And it was my fellow soldiers and I who paid the price fighting in a war predicated on a bunch of lies.
President Donald Trump says the United States will strike Venezuela.
I understand the concern, but the difference is that back then we had dumb presidents.
Fentanyl is a weapon of mass destruction.
Chemical weapons is a threat to the United States.
Fentanyl poses a chemical weapons threat to the United States.
His regime
as an active support for and cooperation with terrorist networks.
Al-Qaeda of our hemisphere.
It has nothing to do with oil.
Venezuela for the American oil companies will be a field day.
And now they're trying to do the same exact thing again.
Why don't we just take over the oil?
Last then and last now. And 2025, as we all should know, was the year of lies. Okay? It was absolutely the year of lies. I want y'all to pay attention. With that all being said, listen, I love you all to life. I hope you all enjoyed the broadcast. I hope everyone got something out of it. Okay? And if there's any breaking news, I'll be back later. Okay? So until then, beloveds, each one teach one. That's how we grow and thrive. Do something productive, constructive, and never destructive. And always remember, beloveds, to keep the Most High first in your lives. Oh, and well, hold on. Let me just say this too before I close out. When I started talking about the lifelines and your non-perishable food items and whatnot, I also wanted to tell you that there is a guy that did a video about the stuff that they sell in Costco's or Sam's. I think it was Costco's, but they had like this emergency food supply. It was $64 and it was in a bucket, like a bucket of chitlings would be in, like a bucket like that, maybe a little bigger. Please don't buy that. $64. And I was told that they had like a lot of beans and crap in there. Here's the thing. Yeah, you do need beans, but I'm quite sure you can get a whole bunch of beans for less than $64. And you want to make sure you have everything that you need. Okay. So I would advise you to get those things. And I'm sure they're charging a little extra because they're putting it all packaged together and whatnot. It's a good sale, I'm sure, for them. But I don't think you should do that. Okay. Weigh your options. Okay. Just go out and buy your non-perishable food items without having them all together in a package, because there's a lot of companies now that are selling these things online and all of that stuff. And it's just a ripoff to me, because you can get much better prices just buying these things sold separately, okay, at different places such as Walmart, okay, Kroger, okay, things like places like that. Okay, so that's all I wanted to tell you all before we close out. I love you all to life. Each one teach one. This time we grow and thrive. Do something productive, constructive, but never destructive. And always keep the Most High first in your lives. Peace.
Hey, yo, Nick, hit him with that flavor. All in my skin, God all in my blood. Kings all in my circle, you touch one of mine and you're done. They show no love for the queen, why you hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans? I got dreams like King Luther, shed blood like Kunta. You ain't helping my people, I ain't got nothing to say to ya. I want all the smoke like hookah. Talking reparations, America won't be great until they give us compensation. I'm like, I'm the hottest right now. See a bunch of lames out here trying to jock on my style. They be doing too much. I'm the queen, it's too easy. It's like they all at Popeyes, how they be talking so greasy. I just sit back and laugh while these haters get madder. So nefarious how they don't want my pockets with cheddar. I tell them they can do better. These snakes in the grass can leave a bite on your ass, cause y'all be trusting too fast. I got my foot on the gas, other one on they necks. Dropping receipts on haters, you better show some respect. I'm never facing regrets, we only facing the threats. Running through every challenge like a relay, break no sweat. It's a cold game, so I got that blanket with me. Now that my people awaken, ain't no going to sleep. I do not play by my piece, this time I'm playing for keeps. You talking slick, but when I see you like them ends, we gon' meet. And I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood. Kings all in my circle, you touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen, why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans and I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood. Kings all in my circle, you touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen, why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans and I got